Now let's learn about pivot and unpivot. So what is pivot? Pivot is when we want to change the layout. So if our data is available, let's say in a vertical format, and we want to change the layout from vertical to horizontal, it's called pivot. And when we want to change horizontal layout to vertical layout, that's called unpivot. So let's learn both these features in Power BI. Sometimes this is really helpful. Let's use a new data set wherein we are going to connect with this data set, pivot and unpivot. So this is the data set. Let's just choose our data source, click on open, and now we are going to get this data in Power BI. We need to select the worksheet name from navigator pane. Let's choose both, and then we need to click on transform data so that we will load this data in Power Query editor, where we are going to use pivot and unpivot feature. So let it load. Let's first see what is the data in the data preview in Power Query editor. So this is a simple data, and we want to format this data. So one query we have is this one, wherein we have data available as a one column is year, another column is month, and the third one is sales column. So what exactly we want? Now we can see year is repeating, month is also repeating, 2017, and then new year is starting, and then months are repeating. So what we want to convert this vertical layout into horizontal layout. Means we want unique list of years, and then month. For each month there should be one column. Jan month, one column. Feb month, another column. March month, another column. So we want to convert this vertical layout to horizontal layout, and for that we are going to choose this month column. Then we can go to transform tab. Within transform tab we can see pivot column. Let's just choose pivot column. Now when we pivot column, when new columns are going to be generated, then sales value should be adjusted according to new column created. So we will change from year to sales, because sales value should be adjusted according to the newly created month columns. So that's why we have selected here sales, and then let's click OK. And once we click OK, we can see 2017, 18, 19 and 20. These years are not repeating, and months columns are created, and sales is adjusted accordingly. So this is called pivot column. Now what is unpivot? Unpivot is vice versa of this. When data is available horizontally, for example, data is available in months in a horizontal format, and we want to convert this into a vertical format. So I've selected all the month column. Now we can choose unpivot columns. We can see pivot column is grayed out because these columns cannot be pivoted, but we can unpivot. So unpivot is the vice versa of pivot. Now we can see that horizontal format has been converted into a vertical format. Let's see another example of pivot. So now we can see that there are so many brands given. Let's promote header. These are the brand name and these are the product name. So these different companies are manufacturing these different products. We want to create a summary report. How many products are created or manufactured by each of these brands? So we can pivot these columns. Let's just choose product name. By default, product name is already selected. So now we can say Contoso is manufacturing 710. Then the next brand is manufacturing these many products. So this is how we can change layout. Pivot and unpivot will be really helpful, especially when we have a data wherein we want to change the layout from vertical to horizontal and horizontal to vertical. In that case, we can use pivot and unpivot column. So especially we use a pivot column when we want to create a summary report. For example, if we cross it out, now we can see that we have individual values. Now these individual values, it is difficult to count one by one. So instead of counting this, we want to create a summary report. So when we create a summary report, basically we are also going to convert this vertical layout into horizontal layout. So let's just pivot this column, and once we pivot this column, by each brand name, a new column is generated, and we also have count of products which are manufactured by each of these brands. So this is the use of pivot and unpivot column. So when we have a data wherein very huge lot of data is given and we want that lot of duplicated value given and we just want count, we can use pivot column. But sometimes we have data available which is scattered across the multiple columns and we want to convert that those number of multiple columns given into multiple columns. We just want one single column, we can use unpivot column.